Okay, we are back. Welcome to Formula Drift Japan, round 2 here at Ebisu Circuit. Brought to you today by Network A. Check them out. My name is Alexi Smith. I'm here with Ryan Sage. Good to be here. Wow, the weather is fantastic today. Track conditions, perfect, everything great. It's going to get warmer and sunnier. We had qualifying yesterday. Today is the top 32, all the way through to the final battle.
Yeah, it's been a pretty awesome event so far. We saw a little bit of rain during qualifying yesterday, which made run number 2 pretty interesting. But the guys got some pretty solid runs in run number 1. And with the very, very high scores for the top 3, 2 95s and a 94. So expect great things here in head-to-head competition today. Yeah,
of course, this is tandem battles today. We have a lot of interesting lineups on the battle sheet. Really looking forward to it, this track. The first time it's being used here in Formula Drift Japan series. It looks like a fairly simple layout, but it gets very technical, and it's going to provide quite a good challenge to all the drivers here today. We saw them slowly getting better and better. Of course, they're out there driving now, warming up, practicing for the top 32. So what we're going to do is have a look at the top 10 qualifiers from yesterday. So let's have a look at the qualifying top 10. And have a look at that. So we started off with Semi Tanaka, car number 222. You can see this is the layout we're using today, deep into the first outer zone, second clipping point, outer zone, fast switch back. So a nice run there from Semi Tanaka.
Yeah, Tanaka, one of the top competitors in the FPJ series. We saw him do really well at Suzuka Twin in attempting our top 10. Number 9, Masaki Kasahara. Really using that big entry to score points with the judges. Obviously, with the qualifying format, you have initiation as 10 points of your overall point structure. So Kasahara in at number 9.
Okay, next driver was Kanam 60 Yoichi Nomura in the turbo V8 powered LFA Kojiji Motorsport, the most expensive car here. Big 275 series tyres on the back of that, providing a lot of drive off the start line. A heavy car, but still being driven very well by Nomura.
And here we go, Atsushi Taniguchi, our number 7 qualifier, looking pretty strong here. Came consistent, had 2 good scores. He dropped in at an 82, which is basically right in the middle of the pack of the top 10, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, next driver here, Daichi Oshiro, hailing all the way from Okinawa. He's only 20 years old. He's been drifting since he was 12, apparently. A score of 84 in this run. As you can see, he's handling that big JZX 100 Mark II really well, flicking the rear of the car around with a lot of presence on the track.
Everybody knows this guy. Number 5 qualifier, Masashi Yokoi. Yokoi seemed pretty confident in the vehicle. We usually see him in the top 3. Not where he usually is, but just a couple mistakes keeping him out of that top 3. But still today, we saw some really progressive moves in practice, and we expect a lot from him in the head-to-head competition.
Next driver is one of our international drivers, Matt Field from the USA series. He's out there in a borrowed SR20 powered S13 Silvia. It's basically held together with love and cable ties. It's not quite the level of some of the other cars here, but he drove it at the level of the other cars here. Doing a really good run there with a score of 86. Great work there from Matt Field.
And now our number 3 qualifier. A lot of guys online and people watching here on site were saying this was the most consistent driver of the weekend. This is Mad Mike Widette. Driving the RX-7, you can see right there, just going super deep into that first outer zone, nice and tight on that first inside clip, and it was really consistency that led him to where he was in that number 3rd position, only 1 point away from the 2 top qualifiers, coming in at a very respectable 94.
And our second place qualifier was Andrew Gray, who's also going to be running the USA Series this year, and his last year's Formula Drift Japan champion, muscling his JSX chaser around the track. A local of Ebisu Circuit, Andy is here literally every day, so it makes sense that he came in 2nd place with a score of 95, one of the highest scores we've ever seen in this series.
And our number 1 qualifier here, Kazuki Hayashi. Now, unlike Gray, who took a very clinical approach and really nailed down everything that you need in the criteria, look at the rate to angle there by Hayashi, really separating himself from the pack on initiation. It's a very, very technical course, trying to get your timing right, coming out of outer zone 1 into that first inside flip, and then wrapping downhill on this off-camber turn as you come across the finish line. He is your number 1 qualifier.
Okay, so there you go. That was our qualifying top 10 from yesterday. Of course, we do have a top 32 layout here today. We do have a few bye runs from retirements, some notable retirements such as Daigo Saito, who we're all looking forward to seeing driving his Dodge Challenger. Unfortunately, next to the car in the pits is a sump pan with a lot of little metal fragments in the bottom and a bearing cap. So he's out there being a spotter today for another driver. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Daigo Saito's car is out, so no Dodge Challenger today. We do have the famous Shark JZX90, which you'll all notice. It's also sporting quite a funny accessory on the just above the engine bay. We'll see that when it comes out a bit later on. So we'll be starting the top 32 very shortly with our first battle. It's actually a bye run. Kazuki Hayashi, our first qualifier from yesterday. He gets a bye run. This is kind of a good chance to check out the track. You can see there the outer clippings, the outer zone, inner clipping zone, then another outer zone, and switch back to the second outer zone, the third outer zone, and final hairpin clip. So only a fairly short track, but several sections to get right.
First group up here is Takahashi versus Yamashita. And it does look like they are pulling off of the line to come down here and warm up their tires, and that'll be our first group up. It will the winner of that will face Hayashi, who just did his bye run. And just to take you down the bracket, after that we'll see Imamura versus Williams, Kasahara versus Sagisaka, Matt Field taking on Taguchi, Orino versus Minowa, Yokoi versus Kazama, Suinaga versus Shinozaki. And then on the right side of the bracket, Andrew Gray, who's going to be taking a bye. He's our number 2 qualifier. Masuda versus Yamanaka. Taniguchi versus MEKUWA. Tanaka, Sami Tanaka versus Benjamin Chiam. Mad Mike Woodette is our 3rd bye as our number 3 qualifier. Iizuka versus Fukada. Oshiro versus Saito. Saito is out, so Oshiro will move on into the top 16. And then our last battle in the top 32 is Sheng Yen versus Isano.
There's going to be some interesting battles there. Because we do run a similar layout in the Formula Drift series that we do in the United States. We have the tyre warm-up and sort of burnout box area behind the starting line. You can see just there. Yamashita warming up the tyres on his Weld JZX 100. Of course, that car is actually, it's not even finished yet. Yamashita's car, it looks like a car that previously ran in this series, but due to changing regulations, it wasn't going to pass this year's regulations, sort of firewall regulations and things like that. So they decided to make a new shell. They couldn't quite get it all done in time. It is complete, but it's not painted like the boss of Weld, Mr. Johnny, was complaining yesterday. He's like, oh, it's raining, it's going to start rusting before we get a chance to paint it. We're starting off with our first battle between Koichi Yamashita and Takahashi. It'll be interesting to see how the battles end up. Okay, so here we go with our first battle between Takahashi and Yamashita. We have Takahashi leading, Yamashita following close behind. Okay, so both cars initiate out towards the outer zone, towards the inner clip. Takahashi falling behind slightly, trying to get it hard and accelerate. Both cars flick back towards the second hairpin. Takahashi over-rotating a little bit. Oh, just barely making it through. Yamashita only just barely keeping up with Takahashi on that run.
Let's go back and take a look at this again here. You got Takahashi in the lead, Yamashita chasing him down. You can see the short run up here. Little initiation right there by Takahashi. Falls a little bit short on that zone. Yamashita, you can see he tightens up, then falls back for a second. Loses a tiny bit of angle coming around inside clip 1. Now Takahashi transitioning to that 3rd and final outer zone, and Yamashita surging right there, but then a tiny little bit of flub on that last inside clip as we take a look at it from another angle here. This is on initiation. You can see that surging, then he falls back, tries to get back on it as Takahashi looking to position himself on that 2nd outer zone where the judges are just asking you to get your rear wheels on the edge of the course before the stripe paint of the rumble strips, and he was able to do just that. You are allowed to go deeper, but you don't necessarily need to. All the judges are asking is that you get out to the rumble strip.
Second battle now, swapping positions. This time Koichi Yamashita in that car, the Weld JZX 100, will be leading, followed by Takahashi in the green car. So here they go, they come up towards the start line. Okay, outer zone, good, nice outer zone one from both drivers. Yamashita running really wide on the first clip, all the way out to the 2nd outer zone, and a bit shallow on the 3rd outer zone. Takahashi tucking right up behind Yamashita around the final hairpin and over the finish line.
Well, pretty similar start here as we go back to the start line. We watch these two drivers leave the course. You can see Yamashita coming through the chicane here. Now, watch if you remember back, comparing lead run to lead run, you can see pretty similar in where they filled that zone. But then Yamashita goes pretty long on that first inside clip, kind of leaving the door open here for Takahashi. And then he'll do the same thing coming down the hill here. Good snappy transition back, tries to fill that zone, and then goes very deep on that last inside clip. And Takahashi's able to close the door before the finish line.
Yeah, that was a really good following run there from Takahashi. A good lead run and a good following run. Pretty much exactly what the judges have been asking for. You can see here, Yamashita just here as the car sort of washing a little bit wide. He's sort of trying to get the power down and get the car to come under control. Also just here, running quite wide, Takahashi, the front of the car, tracking really well around that hairpin and keeping up with Yamashita. So that gives you a rough idea of what the battles are going to be looking like today. So it is a fairly short run up, but it's more than enough for these guys to get up a fair bit of speed. And as you can see, they're taking quite a while to slow down for that corner too. So it's a really good layout. This track here at Ebisu, it's called Nishi course. Nishi meaning west. It's usually used as a time attack, just a regular sort of circuit. It's also used for motorcycles, but it's been converted in recent years to have extra bits of tarmac installed so that it can be used in various layouts for drifting here. So we have a fairly good crowd here, and we have two grandstands pretty much full. Okay, so we have a result here. We have a one more time. We have a one in favor of Takahashi, and another one more time from the judges. So we have two one more times. So we'll be heading over to heading them back to the start line for a one more time battle. It was a good clean lead run, but it was just a little bit, I guess, didn't have that excitement factor. So we'll be seeing a one more time from them. All right, here we go. Next battle, Yoichi Imamura versus Ben Williams. Now, Benny coming from Australia. He's currently living in Japan. He used to live up here in Nihonmatsu in the Ebisu circuit. He's in his personal car. Almost rolled it yesterday when he spun out in the wet and crashed into the dirt wall. Spent last night repairing it. Had to tie one end to a car, another into a forklift, and pull the car straight. He's up against Yoichi Imamura in the LFA. So a fairly big disparity in budget here, but let's see how this battle goes. You never know. It's the way drifting is. So Yoichi Imamura leading. Good lead run from Yoichi Imamura. Good angle. Ben Williams managing to keep up with him. Ben running a little bit shallow. Ben losing the drift there. Understeering. Yoichi Imamura surging ahead. Ben just not able to keep the drift going around that first hairpin. He was doing really well up until that point, but yeah, just Benny on the first hairpin clip, sort of losing his drift a little bit.
Well, an incredible amount of grip coming out of that LFA, and we'll see from the start line how Imamura comes through the chicane here. You can see he blasts off Williams, is looking for an opportunity to try to initiate as close to the back bumper as he can. Now, not a great rate to angle by Imamura. Now, watch this mistake that Imamura makes here where Ben could have attacked. He goes really, really long on that inside clip, but Ben right there on the inside clip on his own straightens out, makes a larger mistake, and allows Imamura to spread the gap as he crosses the finish line there. So an opportunity for Ben, couldn't capitalize on it. And as we take a look at it again, you'll see it from a different angle here. Both drivers come into that initiation. Right here, Imamura is going to go real long, and then right there, Ben shuts it down, loses drift for a second, has to get back on it. But by this time, Imamura is feeling this third outer zone and wrapping around this last inside clip with Ben playing catch-up. So tough break there, but now he'll have an opportunity to change the position as Ben Williams will take the lead against Yoichi Imamura.
It was looking really good there from Ben Williams. He was on the handbrake for a very long time going into that first hairpin clip. He might have lost a bit too much speed going around there. Obviously, Imamura, he did run a little bit wide there, but Ben not capitalizing on that. Okay, so we have our second run now. Ben Williams in the Sora leading on this run, followed by Yoichi Imamura in the LFA. Okay, here they go. Coming down the straight towards the initiation point. We have initiation one from Ben, second from Imamura. Ben Williams really wide, all the way out into that outer zone. Ben Williams keeping his line really tight. Imamura sort of following fairly close behind, but and into the final hairpin, Imamura right up against the door of Ben Williams. So Imamura holding back a little bit on the first half of the track, maybe just wanted to see how Ben was going to do, and then on the second half realizing that he could, tucking up right up against Ben Williams' door.
Well, certainly Ben need to go all out in run number 2 here as he takes the lead to show something to the judges to make up for that mistake. Now look at this initiation here. Pretty fluid motion right into great angle, goes super deep into that zone. Nice and tight on that inside clip. Imamura recognizes now that he's got a real solid run here in front of him with Ben Williams. Starts putting his foot down on the accelerator, tucks up on the inside, and takes away a little bit of positioning there from Ben Williams towards the end. As we take a look at it from this secondary replay here, you can see Imamura is keeping him in his sights. Ben does an incredible job on that first outer zone and that first inside clip. And see how deep he goes in that second outer zone? I mean, this is a near flawless lead run.
Yeah.
And then just right here, just slightly long on that last inside clip, allowing Imamura to tuck his nose in. So I think it's really going to come down to that first run, and we'll see what the judges think about run 1 and run 2 put together between Yoichi Imamura and Ben Williams.
Yeah, that was a very respectable run there from Ben Williams. Like I said, he did put it into the wall yesterday and had to fix it last night. But so we have a result here: 1 for Yoichi Imamura, 2 and 3. So Yoichi Imamura will be moving on to the grade 8. So a great run there from Ben Williams. Unfortunately, that understeered cost him greatly. Yoichi Imamura just showing the amount of control that he has over that big, fairly heavy LFA. Here we go with this run. So Sagisaka in the black Altezza. Kasahara will be leading in the S15 Sylvia. Kasahara's car quite fast. As you can see, they're pulling away. Great lead run there from Kasahara. Maybe something's wrong with Sagisaka. Kasahara filling the outer zone, the inner clear, powering away. This car is really well set up. Looks like it's set up for grip. The cameraman has to literally pan away to catch up with where Sagisaka is. Kasahara, a good lead run from Kasahara, with Sagisaka falling behind. I wonder why that happened.
Well, even if you're completely unfamiliar with drifting and the judging criteria, you'll understand what kind of goes on here. Sagisaka basically is a non-factor in this run, and it's not for a matter of Kasahara running a shallow line and not doing what the judges wanted, trying to run away from the lead driver, the chase driver. He's filling all the zones. He looks fluid. He looks strong and consistent. Sagisaka is just not a factor in this run, so he'll obviously have a big deficit there. Not sure what happened out of the gate. We do allow the chase driver to actually jump the start light so long as they're behind the lead driver before initiation, giving the right of way to the lead driver, but he opted not to do that, and unfortunately for him, he's going to be sitting on a pretty large deficit here going into run number 2, where he'll now have an opportunity to take the lead.
Yeah, we did see yesterday. I was, we were up here watching all the runs. I saw that Kasahara's car, it really does have good acceleration off the line. I had a feeling that might play a part in it, but I didn't know it'd be that big of an issue for Sagisaka. That's sort of one of the reasons why you need a really, really good spotter in this series to give you information about how other drivers drive, what their cars are like. Maybe he just simply got caught out by the speed of Kasahara's car. So we go with our second run now. Sagisaka in the Altezza leading, Kasahara following. So you can see Sagisaka enters really early, sort of slightly misses the outer zone. So manages to tag the inside clip to the second outer zone, third outer zone. Kasahara just keeping a respectable distance off Sagisaka and tucking in right at the end there. So, yeah, the line there of Sagisaka, not that great on the entry, and Kasahara sort of going out nice and wide and taking the right sort of line.
Yeah, so Sagisaka obviously has the proverbial big hill to climb here. Great rate to angle, but you can see comes off that zone a bit early there. Kasahara giving him a little bit of space, knows he has an advantage here, then starts reeling him in once they leave outer zone number 2. Now Sagisaka back around, you can see he misses that third outer zone and then goes long on that last inside clip. But obviously, I think it's really going to come down to that last run where he just was not a factor in his chase position. As we take a look at this run again from a secondary position, you can see right here both drivers that are now swinging back around. Sagisaka goes a little bit wide on that last inside clip, and then an exclamation point by Kasahara across the finish line.
Yeah, so good runs there from Kasahara. You can see that even though Sagisaka might have taken a bit of a shallow line on the first corner, he still stuck the rear of his car over the first outer zone. So we have a result here now. So 1 for Kasahara, 2 and 3 for Kasahara. So Masaki Kasahara will be moving on to the top 16. Sorry, I said grade 8 before, didn't I? To the top 16. he'll be going up against our previous winner, Imamura. So, bit of a shame there for Shinji Sagisaka. He's always seems to get sort of knocked out about halfway through competitions. So maybe he's got something to work on there. But, congratulations to Kasahara, who'll be moving on to the next level. Okay, so we'll be having our second, one more time here now against with Takahashi up against Yamashita. The JZX 100 battle will be happening. We had 2 one more times in the we had 2 one more times from 2 of the judges on the previous battle, so we'll be running this battle again. You can see there Koichi Yamashita, one of the most OG guys here today. A very old school driver, known for driving an A86 back in the day. Pretty cool driver, cool guy. He's got his own workshop. But he's driving the Weld car. He's been driving their car for a fair while now. So here we go with the one more time battle between Takahashi and Yamashita. This time Takahashi leading the run, initiates. Yamashita getting really close to Takahashi. With Takahashi pulling away a little bit, running a little bit wide there. Yamashita not quite as much angle as Takahashi. Tucking in over the finish, towards the final clipping point and over the finish line. So we're seeing a lot of that this weekend. A lot of the drivers who are staying back a little bit and then getting really close in the final hairpin.
And take note of Yamashita here. Watch how close he stays on initiation, not to let Takahashi run away. And Takahashi initiates, does a pretty good job on that first zone. Yamashita looking for an opportunity here because on the first inside clip, Takahashi completely mistimes it. He does not even fill that second outer zone because of the mistake on the inside clip number 1. So we look at it again here. You can see Yamashita attacking on the inside here. Takahashi right there, very, very long on that first inside clip, and then not a factor right there on that second outer zone. So completely mistimes that. So big mistake there. And then right there on the chase position, Yamashita just closing the door. Little tiny flub there, but obviously when you're in close proximity like that, the judges will allow for tiny little mistakes. They talked a lot about that in the drivers' meeting, about if you're within proximity and you're the driver attacking, and you make a couple little flubs here and there, that's going to be better than if you were further distance back and you weren't making those mistakes. So I think overall lead right now goes to Yamashita.
Yeah, it's of course, drifting is all about 2 cars driving really close together, and of course that's exciting. That's what we're here to see. So we have our second run now between Yamashita and Takahashi. It's time. Yamashita will be leading. Car on the right, the Weld JZX 100. So watch the lead car here, the blue car, Yamashita. Nice big flick there out towards the outer clipping zone. Really good, both drivers putting their cars right into the outer clipping zone. Good second clipping point, outer zone by Yamashita. Second to third and into the final hairpin. That was a really good lead run there for Yamashita. Takahashi following very well, but Yamashita pretty much ticking all the boxes for this course, the outer zones and the clips. Yeah,
Yamashita not wanting to make it ambiguous this time around. You can see, look at that rate to angle there, and then he holds it through that first outer zone. Yeah. Now watch Takahashi in the chase position. He's going to fall off just a little bit here. And then Yamashita in the lead position is able to fill that second outer zone. So getting his timing right from the first outer zone to the first inside clip to the second outer zone is key to make it through the rest of the course. He does just that. As we look at it again here, you can see Takahashi's trying to surge, trying to take away some of that positioning from Yamashita. Yamashita holds him off and drives a great line to that second outer zone. Yeah. Good snappy transition back around. And then as he wraps around this last inside clip, a little bit of separation there. And I think this is going to be going into the camp of Yamashita.
Yeah, I get the feeling I might go that way too. But yeah, that was a great entry there for Yamashita. You can see that it's the sort of thing that is most exciting here, is the big flick on the first corner. So we have a result here. So 1, 2, and 3 judges in favor of Koichi Yamashita in the Weld JZX 100 Mark II. So a great lead run there. Takahashi doing a good job, but just falling behind a bit. Maybe just not quite as aggressive as maybe he needs to be to make it through this battle series. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next battle. Here we go. Matt Field. Watching from the United States, fans of the US series, we have Matt Field driving this SDF S13. Now this car, not exactly, like we were saying before, not exactly LFA level. It is a sort of a it's privately owned just by a workshop. It's owned by the workshop owner. He's here supporting Matt Field. He just basically, he wanted to see, you know, his car go out in the series with Matt behind the wheel, so that's what's happening. And he'll be going up against Taguchi in this Up Garage sponsored S15 Silvia. Now this car and this driver, very aggressive in tandem. We saw him get a fairly good result yesterday in qualifying. But tandem is where Taguchi's power lies. So we'll see what Matt Field can do in this S13 up against Taguchi in the Silvia. Okay, shifting gears coming down the straight. Nice flick from Matt Field. Taguchi not very close. Matt Field, okay, good line there. Taguchi sort of running a little bit wide there. Matt Field, big angle, filling the outer zones. Fairly good getting into both outer zones there. Taguchi tucking up behind Matt Field over the finish line. So a decent run there from Matt Field in the lead run. Taguchi sort of slowly catching up as the run went on.
Field known to be a heavy-footed driver, and you can see that right here. Into initiation, nice angle. A little bit shallow, though, not feeling that zone all the way. Taguchi looking for an opportunity here to try to close the door. He falls off a little bit. Matt does a better job on that second outer zone and that third outer zone, but then as he comes into this section of the course here, he goes a little bit long on that last inside clip, and that allows Taguchi to kind of put his nose in just for a second there. So both drivers having a couple little mistakes here. We'll see what happens as now we wrap it back up. Take a looking at it from another position here. You can see Matt does a really good job riding right on that line on that second outer zone. Not as deep in that third outer zone, but pretty good. But that line towards the end causes him to go just a tiny bit wide there, allowing Taguchi to tuck it in. So now Taguchi will take the lead against Matt Field as they head back to the start line, and we'll see the second half of this battle.
Yeah, so Matt Field pulling away ahead of Taguchi. Maybe I know that car is very fast. Maybe Taguchi just want to give him a little bit of space. We do see that quite a lot. I mean, we get international drivers coming over and driving in these series, and all these local guys have never seen them drive before. They're not familiar with their style, so not really knowing what to do. Of course, you know, they can use that to their advantage, the international drivers, being sort of an unknown quantity. You know, you do see a lot of guys who drive together all the time in Japan. That's when you see some really good battles, but that's also when you see a lot of really decisive victories because they all know each other's weaknesses. Ooh. Okay, Matt Field there.
Start there.
Matt Field, bit of a weird start there, but that's okay. It's not going to be a black or red flag for him. So Taguchi being quite shallow on the outer zone, but Matt Field following him. Oh, Matt Field! Oh, and Matt Field losing his drift, slowing down too much, and running off track. So Matt Field following Taguchi's shallow line there, but obviously that shallow line, it almost comes into a 180-degree hairpin if you take that shallow line. So Matt Field losing all his speed and spinning out.
Watch the start here. You can see Matt is allowed to do that. He is allowed to jump the light, but he may have jumped it a little bit too early there, and then he tries to catch up. Now I wonder if that played any mind games with him because Taguchi has a big e-brake pull there. And then Matt's not able to stay with him. It looked very much like he could have held the angle there. Not sure exactly why Matt could not have forced himself to get through that inside clip. It wasn't as if he was about to make contact with Taguchi. I'd love to see that again. But Taguchi not starting off very strong. Big e-brake pull into initiation and then holding it very, very long here as Matt accelerates up. He gets close here, and then Taguchi right there through that inside clip, and then Matt just not able to hold it. So interesting here for the judges as Taguchi makes his way through the course. And we'll have to see what the interpretation is there. On first face, it looks like Matt was not able to get through there, but obviously with the kind of the weird start there may have put him in a little bit of a pressure point.
Yeah, I haven't driven this track quite a lot myself. That particular corner, it does go from being very, very fast to very, very slow all of a sudden. So it can be slightly deceptive. I think Matt Field might have gotten caught out by that and just lost a little speed. So there we have a result. Matt Field being knocked out by Kazuya Taguchi. So that is the end of Matt Field's day, unfortunately. Our international driver from FD USA, Matt Field, losing out to Taguchi, who will be moving on to the top 16.
Interesting Field going out in 32 because he is one of 3 drivers, including Mad Mike Widett and Andrew Gray, that are all competing for World Championship points. So as we see that Gray's already made it to the top 16 and Mad Mike as well, that will put Field in 3rd place for World Championship points, depending on where Gray and Mad Mike end up will decide who's in the lead for the World Championship coming out of this round.
Yeah, okay, so here we go, moving on to our next. Oh, I'm getting attacked by an insect. There we go, he's gone now. Next, well, we are in the countryside. Okay, we have our next battle now. Jin Horino versus Shinji Minowa. Shinji in the JZX90 Mark II. Okay, we have a red flag. We have a little bit of an issue there with a jump start, which is okay because it'll give me a chance to explain what's going on again after that massive bug attack. Oh, he's back. Look at him. He's over there. Now, my fellow commentator Ryan Sage is taking a photo of this massive bug that just attacked us. That's summer in Japan for you. Okay, so once again, Shinji Minowa versus this guy, Jin Horino. Jin being a professional racing driver. This car, the 380SX, 180SX powered by a 3.8 litre VR38 engine out of a GTR. So one of those sort of fantasy video game engine swaps. You have the GTR engine in a 180SX up against Shinji Minowa, who's got his 2JZ powered JZX90, all built by himself or maintained by himself. So here we go. Jin Horino leading. Nice big flick there from Jin Horino all the way deep into the outer zone, but Shinji Minowa right up against his door. Shinji losing a bit of angle there. Great lead run here from Horino. Nice, all the way filling all the outer zones. Shinji Minowa keeping up with him, but just with a slightly shallower angle the whole way around. So that's a great lead run there from Jin Horino in the 380SX.
Pretty exciting battle here as we enter the almost a halfway point of the top 32. Both guys coming down to Horino, Minowa. Good initiation there by Horino, filling that zone completely, and Minowa staying with them, angling up, trying to pass through. You can see shallowed up right there. That was the point where he made his first mistake, but Horino very consistent out front. Great job here. So Minowa started off pretty strong, but had a couple mistakes. The first one on the first inside clip, and then a little bit of shallowing there on the last inside clip before the finish line. But up until this point, very aggressive move here, and then right here just loses a little bit of angle, giving Horino an advantage coming through this. And look at the throttle control and the consistency where he's placing his back bumper in both of those zones. Nice job there by Horino.
Yeah, great lead run there from Horino. I know that previously this car's had a lot of troubles. They had struggles to set it up. It didn't do very well in previous competitions, but it looks like they've got it dialed in. Jin Horino, a very experienced racing driver, not being afraid of speed at all, handling that car very well on that run. So we have our second run now, second battle between Minowa and Horino. This time Minowa in the yellow JZX90 will be leading. Because Shinji also been drifting for a very long time. Very experienced driver. Nice angle there from Shinji Minowa, but Horino right up against him. Horino keeping up with Shinji Minowa, same sort of angle. Minowa pulling a little bit ahead there. Horino a little bit further back than most drivers are in this part of the course, but wow, that first half of the course, Horino was right up against Shinji, same angle, same speed the whole way.
And then take a look at the line as we go back to the replay here of Minowa. Remember, Horino was very deep in that first outer zone, which is the thing that the judges see basically right in front of them. Decent angle here, but does not fill the zone. And then Horino perfectly stays up on the inside there. Doesn't lose too much angle as he wrap around that first inside clip. Minowa shooting towards the second and third outer zone. Slight separation here, but then Horino's able to close it back up. But it was really that lead run from Horino that was super, super strong. And then coming down the hill here, he times it perfectly, stays right up on that rear bumper of Minowa, surges forward, doesn't lose too much angle. Like you said, reels him in. You can see the cone being hit right there by Minowa in the lead position. But Horino on this section right here, just a little bit of separation, but then closed it toward the end. But really the rest of the first run and the first half of that run was pretty excellent by Horino.
It's a bit of a taste of some of the battles we're going to see as we get towards the champion battle. So we have decisions unanimous in favor of Jin Horino. So nice runs there from Shinji Minowa, but Jin Horino really handling that car well today. That's sort of, like I said, I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more battles of that type. Jin Horino, especially from the first outer zone into the first hairpin clip, really right up against Shinji Minowa's door, parallel with him. That sort of thing we really want to see here. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of that. Okay, so moving on to our next battle now. Okay, this is going to be good. Masashi Yokoi. Yokoi, of course, well known to all our American viewers from the series, up against Toshiharu Kazama. Now, Kazama, the boss of Kazama Auto, he actually he said he sort of retired from drifting a while ago, but you can't keep a drift driver down. He's out here today in his 2JZ powered S15. So a double S15, double 2JZ battle. Here we go. Yokoi pulling ahead of Kazama. So watch the angle. Nice big clutch kick initiation from Yokoi. The outer zone. Kazama falling behind a bit. Yokoi's lead run so far. Not really much problem with Yokoi's lead run. Filling the second and third outer zones. Kazama. If it was a solo runner, it'd be okay, but this is a battle. Kazama just not really threatening Yokoi in any way, shape or form throughout the entire battle. Yeah,
a bit of a mismatch here with Yokoi taking the lead. I mean, only one real mistake from Yokoi. You can see good angle here, pretty deep into that first outer zone. He just goes a little bit long here on that first inside clip. But the rest of the run is pretty phenomenal, and obviously with Kazama not able to stay in the pocket on the chase position, not really much of a factor, so he'll obviously have a big disadvantage going into run 2. But when you have kind of a big distance like that between driver A and driver B, what you're wondering is how that's going to play for driver B going into the next run. Is he going to stay back because he's concerned about the pace of the lead driver? We've seen before where we'll have a big separation on run number 1, and then the lead driver who becomes a chase driver gets overly aggressive because he doesn't think about the speed of the lead driver, and then we get crazy things that happen.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I know that Yokoi and Kazama, I mean, they've both been involved in drifting for a long time, so I'm sure Yokoi is familiar with the way Kazama drives. Because Kazama, 49 years old this year, he's still keen on drifting. He's, of course, makes a lot of parts for drift cars. You've heard of Kazama Autoquarks. Here we go, Kazama in the lead this time. Bit of a odd start there, but really early initiation there from Kazama. Bit of a shallow line, but Yokoi just and a spin from lead car Kazama. He was spinning there this morning too. He kept doing that. Yokoi overtaking Kazama as he spins out. So it's going to be a fairly obvious result from there. So that's a bit of a shame from Shacho Kazama spinning out in that corner. So you can see on that corner, like you do see when people sort of panic and hit the foot brake, the car tends to rotate around, which I think what happened.
No, I knew at one point we were going to see at least 1 or 2 occasions of this type of action here at this track. Formula D rules state that you can pass on an inside clip if the lead driver's offline. Clearly, the lead driver was offline there. Yokoi saw an opening. Kazama was already in the bout with the spin, and then Yokoi just passes on through. But obviously, the first run had a big advantage, so it'll be Yokoi getting the win here.
So normally, overtaking is not something that's usually seen or encouraged, but at this track, on that particular corner, just here, it is a possibility this time, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is such a unique course in the sense that the run-up is short. You're not going right into a turn. You're still kind of, you need an acceleration or forward momentum to make that outer zone. And a lot of times, if the timing isn't correct, you can either be too short or too long. If you're too long, you can end up going into the dirt or going long into that inside clip. And if that happens and the lead driver, or excuse me, rather the chase driver is online, he can attack on the inside and become the lead driver by making a pass so long as he does not take away the lead driver's line.
So hopefully we'll see some more aggressive battles like that. So here comes our next battle. Of course, we did have the winner there, Yokoi, in the previous battle. Like our next drivers, Naoto Suenaga versus Yoshinori Shinozaki. Now, Naoto Suenaga basically lives, breathes, and drifts Ebisu circuit every day. He works here, teaches drifting schools and things like that. He'll be leading this run, RB26 powered S15 versus Shinozaki, which is actually a street-registered car. He drove it here. Then we have Suenaga leading. Nice big angle from Suenaga, just skirting along the ripple strip. Right on the limiter there, Shinozaki revving out, trying to keep up with Suenaga. Suenaga, nice flick. A fairly conservative run, I think, there from Suenaga on his lead run. Shinozaki keeping up. Shinozaki doing a really good job following behind. So it'll be interesting to see what the judges have to say about this run.
Well, I certainly love the aggressive nature of Suenaga's drifting here. You can see he comes very aggressive out of the start line, Quick, snappy initiation right there. Doesn't fill the zone quite as much as you want, allowing Shinozaki to kind of nose in here. He is pretty tight on that first inside clip, Suinaga. I love this transition back here. Nice snap back around. Tries to fill that zone, but comes up a little bit short. You can see angle lacking a little bit there by Shinozaki in the chase position. So both drivers having a few flubs here, but relatively close battle so far, as we'll now see both drivers go back to the line and switch up the positions. And here it is from another angle here as both drivers coming to that inside clip. You can see just slightly less angle there by Shinozaki. And then right here, Suinaga not really filling that zone, and then a little bit shallow angle right there from Shinozaki towards the end.
Okay, we can just see there too. I'd like to point out there's an interesting little technique there by Shinozaki as he came around that first hairpin clip. We could hear him basically revving the engine to the limiter. Now that's something that when you get a very slow corner like that, if you basically put the clutch in, rev the engine to the limiter, you're not going to bog down and stall up, which is sort of like what we saw. Matt Field, maybe if he'd have done that sort of thing, he might have made it around that corner. But yeah, Shinozaki, also about he's a bit over 40 years old. I think a very old school street drifter, shall I say. I think he's retired from that by now. Okay, so Elika, Shinozaki, nice big, look at that flick from Suinaga. Suinaga initiating at the same time as Shinozaki, getting right up against him, keeping his line and angle. Suinaga, nice following run. Shinozaki going a little bit wide on the final hairpin. Suinaga tucking in up against Shinozaki's door. So yeah, Suinaga, Suiso Bancho, otherwise known as the boss of tandem, is sometimes what he's known as.
So the second run here is Suinaga really taking advantage of the mistakes by Shinozaki. You can see Shinozaki off that first outer zone, comes off early. Then nice and tight right here, Suinaga. As Shinozaki accelerates forward, you see a little bit of separation. Good snap back around by both drivers. Shinozaki goes wide here, and Suinaga sees an opportunity, pulls back some of that proximity, and puts a little bit of flair on the ending move here. As we take a look one more time, Suinaga surging on the attack here, stays very, very tight on this inside clip. Pretty much door to door here, then a fall back, quick separation. He keeps the angle in the car. Shinozaki does a nice job on that second outer zone, but then right here as they wrap back around, this is where Suinaga tucks up on the inside and does a really good job closing the second half of this run.
Okay, so we do have a result here for the battle between Suinaga and Shinozaki. Great run from Shinozaki, but 1, 2, 3 in favor of Naoto Suinaga. And so Suinaga will be moving on to the top 16. Okay, so we're about to go to a commercial break. It'll go for about 3 minutes, 30 seconds, I've just been shown. So we'll be back with you very shortly here at Ebisu Circuit, formerly Drift Japan, round 2 at Ebisu. We'll be back very shortly. Stay with us. We'll see you then. Wow, we're about halfway through the top 32. If you're just joining us, hello, welcome. My name is Alexi Smith. I'm here with Ryan Sage. I'm getting attacked by bugs again. So yeah, we're here at Ebisu Circuit, Formula Drift. Welcome to everyone joining us from around the world. Andy Gray is going to be doing a solo run. Andy Gray was our second place qualifier. So let's just use this as an example of how to do one of these runs really out wide into the outer zone. First clip, the second outer zone and third outer zone. Andy Gray pretty much doing a replica of his 95, I think it was, qualifying run yesterday. That was a great run there from qualifying. Actually, just an interesting point. So we're up here. We're the English commentators for today. We do have a Japanese version of the live stream going as well, and also live commentary. The commentators are Taniguchi and Arido, who are some pretty OG drivers. I asked them, who do you think are going to win? Arido said Mad Mike, and Taniguchi said Andy Gray. So that's interesting. Okay, here we go. Now remember I was talking about the Masuda's Shark with an accessory, right? That's not actually a blower. It's not connected to anything. Like if he revs the engine, it doesn't move. It's literally just
aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just aesthetics bolted to the very thin metal of the hood. And he'll be going up against Kenji Yamanaka in this car. Now, bit of a literally the most ghetto-looking car versus the most beautiful-looking car, in my opinion. Here, the Tomei-powered JZX100, beautiful body kit on that car. 3.6-liter Tomei engines. Their new Tomei's new engine. 87mm bore, 750 horsepower with massive amounts of torque. But he's up against Masuda, who really does not give an F and will drive the absolute guts off out of this car. So here we go. Masuda leading this run. Yamanaka following close behind. Masuda backing off. Well, a bit of a shallow line there from Masuda. Kenji Yamanaka. Also, Kenji Yamanaka understeering, trying to keep up with Masuda. Second half of the run now. Masuda into the hairpin. Yamanaka falling behind a bit. Now, Masuda did take a very odd line there. He didn't quite fill the outer zone and sort of took a very shallow line towards the hairpin, which sort of screwed up Yamanaka's run.
Yeah, you got to imagine if you're Yamanaka and you're thinking, I'm shooting towards this outer zone, and then Masuda basically comes way off the zone. I mean, nowhere to be found. You could see Yamanaka was actually thinking he was going to go deep there.
It seemed correct.
You can see then he makes a correction after that, so we'll have to see how the judges really interpret that. But the judges do allow for the lead driver to take fault in certain situations. But as we see this one here, it got off to a little bit of a sloppy start. Let's look at it from another angle here. You can see Masuda tries to shoot out towards that zone. Yamanaka thinks he's going there. He doesn't. He has to make an adjustment, makes a correction in the chase position. Then Masuda is back on it here. Better on that second outer zone, still pretty shallow on that third outer zone. And then both drivers cross the finish line with some separation there. So a little bit of sloppiness, but now we'll mix it up. Yamanaka will take the lead position against Masuda.
Yeah, so both drivers making some mistakes in that run. Yeah, that line by Masuda, not like any other line we've seen so far today. So we'll see what the judges have to say about that. So here we go. The second run, this time Yamanaka in the white JZX 100 Mark II will be leading. Masuda in the Shark JZX 90 Mark II will be following. So, of course, the lead car on the closer to the camera. Yamanaka initiates. Nice speed there from Yamanaka. All the way out deep into the outer zone. Masuda keeping up with him. A little bit shallow in his angle there, but Yamanaka, here we go. This is a good lead run from Yamanaka. Masuda taking out the zone markers. He was fairly close the whole way around, but yeah, that was an interesting run. I really want to watch this replay.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here. Both drivers anxious to get off the line. Yamanaka comes through the chicane. Now he's going to put down a pretty solid lead run from initiation into this outer zone. Nice job there. He goes a little bit long and hits that last standing pylon, but not a major deal. Nice and tight on that inside clip. Great job on outer zone 2. Outer zone 3, decent right there. And you can see some stuff coming off Yamanaka's car. There may have been some contact on that transition. We'll see if we can get it from another angle. Let's take a look at this one more time here. Yamanaka really solid out front. You can see Masuda trying to close the door. Shallows up a little bit here. Nice and tight by Yamanaka on that inside clip. Now as we wrap into this section of the course right there, you see how
he's
you see how the pipe came off on that transition?
Yeah.
It didn't look like Masuda was close enough for contact, but certainly kind of an interesting thing.
Not quite sure, but yeah, Masuda taking out the third outer zone pylons. So we'll just start waiting for a result here. The judges having just a little bit of a talk about it. Yeah. So they're back on the start line. Oh, sorry, no, watching the replay. So let's watch this replay one more time before we get a result. So this time Yamanaka leading, Masuda following behind. So Yamanaka, good lead, rather, yeah, a little bit too long. So if he'd have just sort of come back in there, it would have been good. But a little bit too long there, Yamanaka. But Masuda keeping up with him. So watch them as they transition back.
It looks like he just went, as he transitions, the piece flies off. I don't think Masuda was close enough for contact. And that shouldn't make a difference in anything in terms of the lead run. So, you know, as the judges are looking at this, they're looking at lead run to lead run, chase run to chase run. Who was the aggressor overall between the two? Who showed the most consistency? Who was the most fluid? Who made the least amount of mistakes? And you got to say on the lead run here, it's really advantage to Yamanaka. And then we'll have to go back to the lead run of Masuda, who just really struggled on initiation, didn't fill that outer zone. Yeah. So in my mind, it's leaning towards Yamanaka at this point.
Me too. Which would be good for him because he's missing half of his exhaust right now. So there we go. We have a result here. Kenji Yamanaka in the white Tomei-sponsored JZX 100 Mark II will be moving on to the top 16. So, yeah, that lead run from Masuda. I mean, you know, lead runs, you know, entries on your lead run is probably the most impactful part of your run, especially on this course. Well, pretty much anywhere, really. Of course, you know, each course presents their own challenges and you know, things that you can do to impress the judges. But, so we have Yamanaka moving on. Okay, so we have our next battle now. Atsushi Taniguchi versus MEKUWA. So Taniguchi, I believe, becoming a little bit known in the United States. So he does speak a bit of English. Versus MEKUWA in the yellow S15 Sylvia. So we have them shifting up through the gears. Taniguchi, nice angle on his entry, filling that outer zone. MEKUWA really shallow, having to get on the handbrake there. But Taniguchi running really wide. MEKUWA catching up. Well, MEKUWA doing everything he can to avoid losing his drift. Wow, that's he managed to keep his drift through the entire course, even with Taniguchi's weirdness going on in front of him. That's a pretty good effort there from MEKUWA. But watch the start here. MEKUWA really screwed up his entry.
Well, things got really wild here after the first outer zone. Great job by Taniguchi on that first outer zone. You can see MEKUWA is very shallow here, but then Taniguchi goes way long.
Yeah.
Tries to hold drift, and you can see there as MEKUWA is coming back around. MEKUWA goes off course. Taniguchi having a tough time on the second part of the course there, so a bit of sloppiness from both drivers from MEKUWA at the beginning, but then in Taniguchi, as we look at it again here, you can see he starts off pretty strong, just a little bit of feathering in the e-brake, but then right here he just goes way too long.
Yeah, washes
out, loses drift, almost has to reinitiate. MEKUWA goes off-roading right there, so wow, crazy turn of events here in the second half of the top 32.
I mean, you've got to love his guts for it's like, oh no, I'll straighten up and start again. No, just bulldozer ahead. And but he managed to do it. It worked. So of course, it being exciting and being a drift for drift that is well judged is not always exactly the same thing. So here we go again. MEKUWA this time leading, Taniguchi following. So watch MEKUWA's entry. Oh, simultaneous entry. Great follow run there from Taniguchi. This time MEKUWA's line. No problem with it. Taniguchi shallowing up. Taniguchi losing his drift. Once again in the same spot. MEKUWA continuing his run. Taniguchi trying his best to catch up again, but that was a big loss of drift there from Taniguchi. I think 2 times in that same part of the course, so it might be something to do with the setup of his car. It doesn't really handle low speed very well, so let's watch this run again.
Yeah, kind of going out on a limb here, but I feel comfortable saying that on run number 1, both drivers probably received a 0. That would mean whoever won this battle is going to win. Now, right there you can see Taniguchi makes another big mistake. MEKUWA out front, gets through the course pretty decently here. I think MEKUWA is going to get the win because Taniguchi zeroed out on run number 1, and as did MEKUWA in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this mistake right here by Taniguchi makes it pretty apparent that he was the lesser of the 2 drivers in run number 2.
Straight, yeah. Yeah, that part of the course seems to be the one that's catching people out the most. It does. I don't know how it looks if people who haven't seen this track before, how it looks to you, but that corner, it is pretty much a 180-degree hairpin. So we have a result here. So 1, 2, and 3 in favor of MEKUWA. So MEKUWA in the yellow S15 Sylvia, winning out against Atsushi Taniguchi. So MEKUWA moving on to the top 16. So, yeah, interesting run just there. Taniguchi did fairly well in qualifying yesterday. I think he got a score of 85. Okay, so moving on to our next battle now. Semi Tanaka. Did Semi ever run in the United States Series?
No, I don't think so.
He never did? Okay. Semi Tanaka, S15 Sylvia versus Ben Chiam in the Fat 5 Racing built R35 GTR. This car's so good. He's actually even gone so far as to not run an oil cooler in order to save weight. He's trying to make this car as light as possible. Here we go. Semi Tanaka, S15 leading. Ben Chiam following behind. Nice flick on the entry. Semi Tanaka filling that outer zone. Ben Chiam keeping with him. Not quite as much angle as Tanaka. Tanaka going out. Second outer zone. Third outer zone. Nice flick there into the hairpin on the brakes. Tracking around. Ben Chiam keeping up with Tanaka pretty much the whole way around, but just not quite as much presence there from Ben Chiam as from Tanaka in his lead run.
Well, on this first run here, we really emphasize the importance once again of timing coming into initiation, first outer zone into first inside clip. You can see Semi Tanaka pretty decent there, comes out of the zone a little bit early as Benjamin tries to close the door, but then Semi, he's going to enter the second outer zone way too early, and it's going to cause him to miss it. But Benjamin is not really playing too much of a factor here, so the mistakes by Semi out front may not be too big of a deal here. You do see Tanaka going wide, and then Benjamin's able to close the door on the inside around that last inside clip. Let's take a look at it again here from this angle here as Benjamin looking for an opportunity to attack. Sammy right here is going to enter this first zone, or the second zone, a bit too early, and he's not going to fill it. But then Benjamin is not within proximity here. So on this last turn, though, Benjamin's able to close it down just a little bit. I
think this is that's probably one of the best runs that Ben's done in this car. Of course, debuting previously at Suzuka round of Formula Drift. He hasn't had a whole lot of experience in this car yet, but he's slowly getting it set up the way he likes to see. It's missing a headlight there. I think he said that the car's a little bit too low, and the front spoiler sometimes hit some of the curbs, and it popped out one of the headlights. So, but I was talking to him before, and it's just turned into a cold air intake now. Okay, so this time Ben Chiam in the R35 GTR leading, Tanaka following. So nice entry there from Ben Chiam. A little bit off the outer zone, but Tanaka even further away from it. So Tanaka, I think, relying on his tandem driving skills here to keep right up against Ben Chiam's door, right up against him all the way through the second half of the course. Tanaka, a great following run. Not that great on the first half of the course, but after the first hairpin, that was classic Tanaka tandem right there.
Well, here we go with Ben coming through the chicane down this short run up here into initiation. Sammy keeping him pretty close here. You can see trying to look for a little opportunity on the inside. Tucks up right there. Nice job. Now, Ben does a great job with angling up, getting into outer zone number 2 and pretty close to outer zone number 3. But look at Tanaka through the smoke cloud, sees right through it. Door-to-door action there as he closes up the last section of this course. And as we look at it from this angle, you'll be able to get a pretty good perspective of how Sammy approaches tacking in the chase position. He stays right there, keeps an angle in the car, his eye on Ben. Ben does a good job on his line here as Sammy comes back around, tucks the nose in on the inside, and really does a good job impressing the judges on the last inside clip.
Yeah, that was a great following run there from Tanaka. It was also pretty good run there, lead run there from Ben. R35 GTR, I mean, that's not a small car. That is a big, heavy car to be driving in a drift course. But yeah, plenty of power and handling it really well. But yeah, Tanaka, very experienced tandem driver. One of the his peers include Yokoi and also guys like Naoki Nakamura, who's probably well known to a lot of the more hardcore drift fans. So we have a result here. So a 1, 2, and 3 in favour of Sammy Tanaka. So great run, probably one of the best runs that Ben Chiam's ever done in this car. Really great looking car too, but unfortunately he's lost in favour of Sammy Tanaka, who will be moving on to the best 16 up against our previous winner, MEKUWA. Okay, we're moving on to our next battle now. This time is Mad Mike. He has a bye run as well. He would have had a battle, I believe, but we had a retirement. So Mad Mike, yesterday's third place, I think it was. Third place qualifier, having a bye run. So just sit back and enjoy the noise. Any Rotang clan from New Zealand, you're all watching over there. We have the quad rotor. This car built by Magic, Team Magic here in Japan. They have their own. The engine in this car looks really cool. They have sort of customized housings that say Team Magic on them. Okay, here we go. Mad Mike. Enjoy the noise. You gotta love it.
What's not to love?
That was so, I mean, he has the best, throttle control to make a car sound cool. It was like, bang, 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 pop, pop, rev, rev, bang, bang. That was great.
You never see Mad Mike frown. He's always positive, always smiling and stoked on drifting constantly.
How could you not be with driving the sorts of cars he does? I would be too. So Mad Mike will be going straight into the top 16 up against the winner of our next battle. So yeah, Mad Mike solo run. He just gets one solo run. It was a pretty good run, even though he wasn't up against anyone or basically had no reason to go hardcore, but apart from show off to the crowd, which is pretty much what he does best. But he is looking strong today. That car debuted a little while ago. He had a lot of trouble with it. I believe it was his first round at Fuji Speedway. The car was in no way set up to handle the high-speed track at Fuji Speedway. But since then, the guys at R-Magic have put a lot of effort. They're all big fans of Mike, obviously, and they really want to put on a good show. And obviously, they've paid dividends. The car is performing, handling, looking really good. Okay, so moving on to our next battle now. Kazuya Iizuka, this guy here in the JZX100. He'll be going up against Fukada also. So another JZX100 battle. Yeah, hashtag JZX Cup here in Japan. Of course, I drive a JZX100 Mark II myself, so sort of partial to these cars. So then we have Fukada there. Fukada, he had a fully built 2JZ engine last year. He blew that, had to replace it with a stock engine, and he hasn't had time to build a new engine since then, so he's just been running a stock engine. It's been holding up, but then yesterday he blew his turbo. The intake housing was all scored up and the vanes were all shredded, but he managed to swap it over from yesterday and he's got it in the car now. He's all good. He's also one of the older drivers. I think he's about 40 something. He's also keen to head over to the States and have a look at Formula Drift there too, he said. So these next battle now, Mark II versus Mark II. So these are JZX100s. For those who don't know, there's the Chaser, Cresta, and Mark II. There's three different body styles. They're all basically the same sort of four-door. Similar in style. So a big jump there from Fukada, which is legal. Iizuka entry, big angle on Iizuka's entry. Oh, Fukada falling behind a little bit. Iizuka. Both cars revving out. Iizuka's lead run. Oh, filling every single one of the outer zones, knocking his bumper off, his rear bumper off on the third clipping on the third outer zone. So yeah, this look at this jump here from Fukada. Yeah,
using the legal jump to try to get an advantage here. He does stay pretty close to him on initiation. I'm not sure how much of a power variation there are between both vehicles or grip variation, but he doesn't stay super tight here as Iizuka's out front, a little bit long on that first inside clip. Pretty close to that second outer zone, just putting that back tire right on the line there. Much better on that third outer zone, and nice wrapping around that last inside clip. So Iizuka and Fukada battling it out here in the last few battles of the top 32. You can see some separation here between Iizuka and Fukada coming through this second outer zone. Iizuka trying to reach out, does a much better job on that third outer zone, loses a bumper as he hits the last pylon there, and Fukada trying to stay as close as he can, but unable to reel him in towards the end.
Yeah, this the white JZX100 Mark II of Iizuka has been literally every time we see it, it's getting faster and faster. He's working really hard on getting this car working. I think Fukada's car, I don't know, he's I think he doesn't have much time to work on it as much as he'd like, but still handling it fairly well. This time he'll be leading Fukada in the blue car in the foreground there, Iizuka following behind. Iizuka also a fairly young guy. He's got his own workshop, Himoari Racing. Himoari means sunflower. For some reason, in Japan, sunflowers are seen as a very manly flower. I guess because they're big and strong sort of things. So I guess that's why. Okay, so here we go. Second run, Fukada. Okay, we have a red flag. Red flag, red flag. So a bit of a start issue there. I don't think Fukada is paying much attention. I think he might have missed that red flag. Iizuka already turned around and heading back. So it may have been a jump start there from Fukada. Of course, Ryan, if you'd like to say, what are the reasons you might get a red flag?
So, yes, the jump start of the lead driver hitting one or more of the chicane cones can do that. Or not leaving at the appropriate time once the red light has gone off. So not sure exactly which one. The chicane cones don't seem to be on the ground, so it may have been a jump. Yeah. In the daytime, it's harder for us to see that light, so that may have been the reason, but I'm certain that we'll find out here. Either way, we'll do this one over, and we'll see run two as Fukada now driving behind us past the judges' tower, back up to the start line to take on Iizuka, who's sitting there waiting for him.
So we'll see this run go again. So, yeah, lovely day here at Ebisu Circuit. Wish you were here with us. Nice big crowd in the grandstands. Good weather. Lots of people here. Lots of good cars. going to be a great day for drifting. Because we did have a bit of rain yesterday, which made things interesting. If you did tune in yesterday to watch qualifying, qualifying was almost as fun to watch as battles, I think, yesterday. So, of course, we're back into the top 32 today. So we have a couple more battles to go in the top 32. But for now, we have our second run between Fukada and Iizuka. Fukada in the car in the foreground, he is leading. And Iizuka in the white car in the background. We'll be starting very shortly. And I'm enjoying today's competition so far. There's been some good battles, but of course, you know, as we go into the top 16, top 8 and final, we're going to see some good stuff, I'm sure. This layout really lends itself well to good tandem battles. There's a lot of places on this track where people can you know, make mistakes, and so on the other hand, if people can manage to nail the entire course, that really shows a high level of skill in tandem driving. Okay, here we go. Second run now. Fukada leading, Iizuka following. Iizuka right up on his bumper. Fukada. Here we go. This is tandem right here. Both cars almost the same silhouette, the same model of car. Iizuka revving it out, trying to get the power down to avoid understeering. Managing to keep up. That's sort of what I was talking about before. As they slow down around that hairpin, some of the guys here basically put the clutch in, rev it to the red line so that they can stay on boost as they come out of that corner. But yeah, Fukada, maybe Iizuka maybe not getting it in gear in time.
Well, another interesting run here. You can see really quick to angles Fukada, but does not fill that first outer zone. Then he straightens up right here, and then watch Iizuka in the chase position. Boop, boop, boop. So split second where he kind of lost it there for a second. Now, straightening, however you define that, is not an absolute zero. It has to be determined by the judges. And a lot of times what we see is we see a little bit of leeway here, especially if a driver is in the attack. So we see a big straightening here by Fukada out front. And then Iizuka looks like he just kind of loses a gear for a second there, gets back in it. And, you know, a little bit of a disruption there. We'll have to see how the judges interpret that. That first run obviously leaning in the favor of Iizuka. The second run a little bit more squirrely here between both guys, and now it's in the judges' hands.
That's right. You know what I think that might be? I know that Iizuka is basically running the guts out of a Supra. He's got a 2JZ engine and the GetRad 6-speed box. And those are fairly notorious for having a difficult downshift. They are very strong, obviously, but as far as drifting is concerned, they can be a little bit difficult to use sometimes compared to some of the other boxes that can be used in these cars. Of course, a lot of these guys running sort of standard, fairly standard sort of boxes, street-style setups, and other guys, you know, running things like G-force transmissions and things like that. So here we go. We have a result now. So 1 in favor of Fukada, 2 in favor of Fukada, and 3. So unanimous in favor of Tadahiro Fukada. He was in the blue car. So obviously, judges feeling that his runs are a bit better than Iizuka's. So I think very close though. Those runs are very close, but obviously the mistakes that were made by Iizuka there cost him fairly dearly. And that means Fukada will be moving on to the top 16 up against our previous runner Mad Mike. Okay, so next battle now, Daichi Oshiro, who comes all the way from Okinawa, which is, I guess, the Hawaii of Japan, if you want to compare. It's a long way away from where we are. Oshiro, also on a bye run, he would be up against Daigo Saito, but Daigo's challenger munching on a piston yesterday and knocking him out. So Daigo Saito not anywhere to be seen in this battle, handing Daichi Oshiro the win. So Daichi Oshiro from Okinawa, only 20 years old. Apparently been drifting since he was 12. For some reason in Okinawa, the drift drivers down there start really young. I guess they have sort of places where they can go and mess around with cars. Also, I guess being a sort of an island, there's not much else. You can go surfing, you can go drifting, pretty much. So they start fairly young down there. Okay, so final run of the top 32. It's been great so far. Next drivers, Sheng Nian in this JZX 100 Chaser. In Japan, the nickname is the hyakuche, which are hyaku meaning 100 and che being short for chaser. So the hyakuche, for any guys out there who are all JDM. And he's up against Hisano here in the S15 Sylvia. Taichi Hisano. This car, very orthodox style of build, SR20, S15 Sylvia. This time Shenyang will be leading, Hisano following. So starter's button has been hit. Here we go, here we have the start, Shenyang, JZ100 Mark II, Chaser. Hisano a fair way behind. Shenyang running really wide into the outer clipping zone. Hisano taking out both of those outer zone markers. It's a long way behind Shenyang's Chaser, not managing to reel him in any way. So it was actually a really good run there from Shenyang.
Yeah, he's definitely improved over the short term here. We've seen him really come into his own as he's gained confidence and worked with Andy Gray and the boys here, spending some time. He's got two cars that look exactly like this, and as you can see, pretty consistent there. Hisano, you can see, goes wide on that inside clip or that outer zone, but really not a factor in the chase. Meanwhile, up front, Shang is getting deep into the second outer zone, deep into the third outer zone, and stays nice and tight on that last inside clip. So he's doing everything he needs to do as a lead driver, and you can see the separation from the beginning here.
Yeah.
Shang comes in. He's got a big lead so far. Hisano trying to make up a gap here. He's just unable to do it. Meanwhile, Nien is doing what he needs to do in the lead position. Not too many mistakes. Maybe could add a little bit of cleaner initiation, get a little bit deeper in that first outer zone, but really I think he's got an advantage going into run number 2.
Yeah, I think Hisano, if he was a bit closer, it would have been better, but yeah, he was almost a non-factor in that battle. Of course, he still does have a chance to run in the lead here. So lead car running in the left lane, that'd be the right here on camera. So basically the one that's closer to the camera is the one that's in the lead run. So here we go, you okay, you okay. Hit the button, run away, that's what I used to say. And here we have the start. So this time, Hisano leading, Shenyang following. So nice entry, nice flick there from Hisano, filling the outer zone. Shenyang not quite as much angle, fairly close but still not as much angle. So Hisano flicking it back, aggressive. But Shenyang keeping up with him all the way around the course. Shenyang using all the torque in that engine to drive towards Hisano. So a really good lead run there from Hisano, but maybe just slightly overshadowed again by Shenyang.
Certainly got to give credit where credit's due, and Hisano, great job on the first half of the course. Look at that angle right there. Rate to angle was incredibly filled the zone the entire way. I mean, that's one of the better jobs that we've seen. Stays nice and tight on that first inside clip. But again, like you said, Shang unable to be shaken here. Pretty much stays with them. He gave him a little bit of room on initiation and then was able to close the door and stay within proximity the entire time while staying on his line. So Shang did what he needed to do. Let's look at this again from another angle here. The rate to angle for Hisano was absolutely incredible. I really love that initiation. And he was still able to set himself up to stay nice and tight on that first inside clip and the second and third outer zone. But Shang there, staying consistent with him along the way. And I think with that first run, unless the judges really give a lot of favor to Hisano's lead run, I think it's going to go in the direction of Shang.
Yeah, I get the feeling it might be that way too. It's get the feeling if he was a bit closer on his following run, it might go a different way, but we'll get a result from the judges. It's either they're over in the back half of the course. So we do have a result here, Hisano versus Shenyang. So we have Andy Yen, Ryan Lantane, and Robbie Nishida, all in favor of Shenyang. So Shenyang moving on to the top 16. All right, so that brings to a close the top 32 here at Ebisu Circuit, Formula Drift Japan, round 2, top 32 bracket. So we have quite a few interesting looking battles here. Who's made it through? We have Imamura, we have Yokoi, we have Suenaga. So we have, let's see,
You want me to go through the? Let's go through the brackets.
Okay, let's go through the brackets.
I'll take the left side. You take the right.
Okay, let's do that.
So our top 16 battles here. The first battle up in the top 16, Hayashi versus Yamashita. Second battle, Imamura versus Kasahara. Third battle, Taguchi versus Harino. And our final battle on the left side of the bracket, Masashi Yokoi taking on Suinaga.
In the second half of the top 16, Andy Gray versus Kenji Yamanaka. Again, another double JZX battle. Next one, MEKUWA, who performed really well in his battle against Taniguchi, up against Semi Tanaka. That's going to be a good tandem battle. Then we have Mad Mike versus Fukada, we just saw there. And then finally, Daichi Oshiro versus Sheng Nian. So, some great battles. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so that's the end of the top 32.